Hello, welcome to Esperanza on Sabbatical. As the title says, today we're going to discuss about how traveling has impacted my social life and has made me disconnect from friends and from people that were close to me. So, as you travel, your mind keeps getting exposed to new things and new realities and new people, and then it always kind of like puts you back. Questions, your normal life and your reality, and that has not been a different case, with me, in that. As I moved and I traveled, I kind of like have uprooted myself from my social circle and exposed myself to a world that was really not familiar or has never been familiar to me. And that, of course, kind of always creates a conflict, in a sense. So, yes, I would say that traveling has impacted me so much that I had to um, shorten or diminish my circle of influence and friends, because I realized so many things. Being on the road, I questioned myself and I questioned what I think was my life or is still my life. Then I realized that a lot of holes started appearing here and there. For instance, sorry. Um, Most of the friends that I have are friends because probably we share the same circle, we attend the same event, we are, we are in the same sphere of influence, basically, when you live in one place, you tend to know the people around, and then, I used to think that was my reality and those were my friends, but as I've traveled, I learned to realize that not that there is anything wrong with them, because it all comes from me. It wasn't something that I needed in my life. It wasn't something that I was really comfortable living, because in a sense I felt as if my reality was a lie, and traveling and being out there is actually what's real. I'll give you an example. For instance, there was this time I was in I think I was in Accra. No, sorry, yeah, I was in Ghana, going from Kumasi to Accra. So I was in a car. They call it a trotro there. It wasn't a trotro, but it was like a vehicle, and everybody's in there. And then we're watching a movie, and then there was this man next to me who under normal circumstances I would have never met. When you are not exposed to to certain things, it's just you have no idea. The man was a fisherman. He was going to Accra because that's where he was applying his trade. He was working for a company, and then he used to go there for 2 weeks in a month, and then after that, goes back to Kumasi. So to global standard, you know, global standard, he is what they would say below the poverty line, like according to global standard, they would say that he lives below the poverty line. But I connected more with this man than I ever connected to some of the people that I called friend in my normal life, if I can call it like that. Because it stemmed from a sense of genuineness. This man was very genuine to me, and so I was to him. He didn't even know where I came from. He didn't even care. But as long as we were going somewhere, and then as long as we connected, that's what really matters. And you know, I can echo his feeling. It's one of those things that, you know, it's unspoken. It really is unspoken. You get to know this man without him saying much to you, and he gets to know you too, and then you realize some sort of, you bond. Yes, that's the word. You bond more than people that you've known for years. That now, when I get to think of it, it was more of a superficial kind of relationship that we had. You know, I'll give you an example. For instance, you know, we have friends. Let's say, for instance, we go to a place, we agree. You know, we live in one place, and then we patronize most of the similar businesses, and then we say, okay, let's go for a drink. So when you go for a drink, you know, the unwritten rule is that, you know, whenever you get there, you drink, everybody pays his share, and then, you know, you enjoy, and then you go home, you know. But this is more of a appearance kind of, you know, event. It's not really, there is no basis for that, you know. You're not going for a drink because you want to connect. You're just going for a drink because we're social beings as human, so you just want to be in the company of fellow humans. You know, that's the reason why you're going for a drink. But and then I'm sitting next to this man here, and then we stop somewhere, you know, a short stop, and then we have to buy drinks and food and stuff like that, you know. And in and what he did there really much touched me, you know. uh, I I wanted to drink. I wanted to buy drink. I wanted to buy water, you know. But before I even said anything, this man already bought two bottles of water and gave me one. And you know, to expect somebody who's struggling also, you know, to make ends meet, to just say, I want to give you water. You need water, and you don't need to buy using your money. I'm buying you water. I was very touched. I was very touched because, you know, it should have been normally it should have been the other way around. I should have been the one, but I don't even know what normal is anyway. But what I'm trying to say here is that, you know, you should have been expecting some things from me, not the other way around. But it really touched me because, you know, the man liked me genuinely. Apia, Sam Apia, that's his name, you know, we've kept in touch. He liked me genuinely, and as we were going to Accra, he was even telling me, please, you know, you have to come to my home, come to my home, let me host you, let me show you around, let me, you know, let me introduce you to my people. And I was very touched, you know, touched that, you know, you meet this perfect stranger on the road, and then you adopt him out of kindness and out of pure love, and then, you know, you want him to, you letting him into your life. That's something that, you know, we don't really see quite often in our environment, you know, because come to think of it, as I said, and then I was like, okay, you know, I have friends, we usually go watch games here and there, but we do that just because we don't want to be alone, you know. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to feel alone. So we connect with people, however superficial that might be, but it gives you a bit of sense of being human. And I sat there, and then I thought to myself, because this man kind of like taught me a great lesson of friendship and generosity and love. Then I went to my place when I went to Accra. Then I sat and I thought for a moment. I said, you know, if something were to happen to me, let's say, for instance, let's say for argument's sake that I did not belong to the circle that I was in back at home, you know, let's say I didn't fit there anymore. Would those people that I call friends still see me the same way? Will they still interact with me the same way? Let's say, for instance, I was a nobody. Let's say I was just a random human being. Will they even give me the attention that they're giving me? Or they're doing so because I benefit their plans or I benefit their life in a way? All these questions started rolling down in my head, because then I said, and I was like, yes, if I was this man, Sam, and then I were teleported into my reality, I don't even think any of my friends would have given him the time of day. They probably would have not connected with him. I'm not saying he would have been discriminated against, but he wouldn't have fit quite well, or they wouldn't have eased him access into the circle. But this was a very genuine person. This was a kind, loving soul. This was somebody that made me feel that I mattered, irrespective of where I was coming from. He didn't care about that. All he cared was that, you are a good person. I love you, and I want us to be friends. So yes, so it gave me a lot of things to think about. Then I thought throughout my stay there, and then I realized, well, it wasn't I decided to do something, just to find out, whether or not, my friends were really worthy of having as friends. So I did a few things. I just, it was around about money. So I called one of my friends who was then here, was a very close friend of mine, very close friend of mine. Then I told him, I actually genuinely needed help, because what happens in Ghana is that you cannot send money out of Ghana. You can't do that. I don't know what is happening, but you can't. But Ghana is only a receiving country, so I needed to send money somewhere. So I called him, and it wasn't really a big amount. I think it was like $30 or something. And that is, by the way, that is something that we could spend on an outing on pizza. All right, we can spend that on a pizza. So yeah. So I called him. I've never asked him any favor before. Never. It's always, we meet and then we talk, and then he comes to my place, brings drinks, food, and then I go to his place, bring drinks, food, and stuff like that. But anyway, so I called him and I said, I rang him. I said, dear friend, I need a favor. All right. I need to send money somewhere, and then, since, I can't access my bank there, that's a long story, and then I have the money here, but I can't also move, so I need to do some Western Union or something. So can you do that for me, and then, when I come back I can just, give it to him. So if it was me that was, if it was me that a favor like that was asked, I would have easily done it, with my eyes closed, because I mean, $30, we spend it on, like, even petrol, on fuel, we just spend it, so it's nothing. And then I know how much he makes, obviously, but that's yeah. So the answer, this friend of mine tells me, he says, I don't have any money for you. I don't have. I'm very broke. I know it's not true, but anyway. And then I said, then, and I was like, okay. So in times of need like these, I cannot count on a friend or somebody I think is a friend. But what is the point of having friends if not to be there for you when you're in time of need? I know, obviously, somebody like Apia could have even taken part of or half of his salary, done that for me, but okay, anyway, he was in Ghana and I wouldn't have dared, abuse him in that sense. And then, I was like, okay, fine, and then I understood, and then I was like, okay, it's okay. But what made things even worse was that, I speak to him, and then he says that, but it's not over. And then he tells me later on, he says, why don't you just take a car from Accra, just drive to Togo, and then use Western Union there? And then I said, well, but I mean, going to Togo and coming back, it's more than $30, and but it's not a big deal. But I know what kind of person he is, and I also understand, most people, want to protect themselves. They feel like if you ask for something, the walls have to go up. It's like a red alert, beep, 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 beep. But for me, it was also an eye opening to see that if anything were to happen to me, I cannot rely on this person whom I call friend, or any other people like this, and that. But these are the same people that we hang out with, and we mingle, we connect on a social basis. So yes, so then I made up my mind already. I started looking, and then I was like, okay, because traveling is a self-discovery journey. You learn about things, you learn about people, but you learn about yourself as well. Then it wasn't their fault. I just learned, and then I understood that these are not true friends. These are friends of circumstances, because we are in the same place, or we're doing the same things. But as soon as that is no longer the case, there is no point for friendship. So then, since I want to be real with myself, and I want to be real and genuine with the rest of the world, I felt that coming back, I had to keep it to myself a little bit, because what I am is no longer fitting in the reality that I am living, or with the people that I used to interact with. So I made a decision to say that some friends were to be downgraded to acquaintances, or to how do I say this without sounding harsh? But yes, they shouldn't be friends. They shouldn't be left. They shouldn't be allowed into your inner um, chamber, or your inner framework of existence. So I did that, and then traveling really helped me. Kind of like separates the real one from the unreal ones, because I mean, real friends have your back no matter what. Real friends will never even ask you when you're in need. They can know, and before you act or you do something, they are there. And those are the people you want to surround yourself with. But if you do not find it, you don't have to fake it, or you don't want to be in an environment that doesn't fit you. It's okay. It's okay not to have friends. It is really okay. But as long as you are being real to yourself, I think there is no harm to that. So yes, yeah, traveling has really made me see the light in that sense. And then I'm very grateful. I am grateful because I'm forever evolving, and then I've met amazing people, and I'm still meeting amazing people. Even where I am, there are still amazing people. But you just have to know who you allow within your sphere of existence, because that affects who you are. And then you want to protect yourself, but you also want to allow those who are worthy of friendship, or those whom endears you for who you really are. Yes, that's my little story about how traveling really made me a loner, and made me rethink so many things about life. And yeah, I would like to hear your experience as well. If you've traveled, or if you have been in similar situations, drop me a comment below, like, share, subscribe as always. But thank you very much for tuning in. It really means a lot to me. And I'll see you on the next installment of Esperance on Sabbatical. Till then, take care.